Sage is an incredible job with a breathtaking aesthetic. They come equipped with a Kardia system, which is a super unique mechanic which rewards actively DPSing with healing procs. Not to mention, it brings refreshing, unique takes to skills that honestly we've already seen similar things to in the past, such as Sacred Soil skill, but now take it and literally people don't need to run into the dome for the benefit. Or how about a no strings attached Fey Union in the form of Soteria? So the last thing I want to say about my favorite job is that it is bad, which is objectively false because we have well over 3,000 clears of P4 Savage logged. However, while my own take on Sage is overwhelmingly positive, there are problems now that I am seeing when I'm playing it so much that I really do hope might be looked at in the future. Things that just slow down the hype beast train just a little bit. So first on the list of concerns is the age-old question of what exactly am I meant to do with all of this Aether flow? No, I didn't say that wrong, but the thing is now we're talking about it in Addersgall terms. And remember that this was very much a question when Energy Drain was removed from the Scholar about, okay, what are we meant to do with all this Aether flow now? It's actually not an exaggeration to say that a lot of the time myself, when I'm in a fight, and this is absolutely including Savage fights, that I simply don't have any actual use for Addersgall at certain points of the fight. The scenario that I will be in will be I have all 3 stacks of Addersgall ready to rip and tear, but there is no AoE damage coming in that might justify something like a Caracol or an Exocol usage after the fact. There's no major impending tank damage to justify a Taracol with its huge mitigation, which 10% in my mind is huge for a healer to give a tank. Or there's no like light chip damage on a DPS that would not be either resolved very, very quickly from me using a Kardia swap or anything that would justify the use of Drocol. So the problem is essentially every 20 seconds you sit on max charges of Addersgall is the equivalent of throwing 1 charge away, rather than having an Aetherflow button to press where it's like every scholar really after a few years of playing it has in their mind like ingrained is it's like every time Aetherflow is like about to come off of cooldown, if I'm not pressing it basically when it's coming off of cooldown, I'm losing Aetherflow charges. And really in a passive sense that you're not actively pressing the Aetherflow button passively every 20 seconds, that you're not like, or that you're sitting on all your charges without one coming back is one that you're actively throwing away. Now to have a fair discussion, I feel that it's very important to represent the other side fairly, and so someone could eagerly champion the idea of, okay, if you didn't need to spend the Addersgall charges at all, is that really a waste? To cut back that rabbit hole adventure a little short, yes, it actually really is a waste. This is because Addersgall not only gives you the heals or the barriers or mitigation or whatever you're looking for at that particular point, but it also gives you that 7% MP back per Addersgall charge used. Not when you acquire it, when you use it. So if you're actively not using Addersgall charges consistently as a Sage and just letting them sit there, it becomes very easy to fall behind on MP. Every 20 seconds that you are sitting on those Addersgall charges with them not being used, you're basically like throwing away 700 MP. So over the course of a longer fight, it's going to definitely add up. Or alternatively, say that you are like significantly into a fight, your MP bar has been basically whittled down to say like 3,000 MP. Let's say that you're running a low piety build. Now your maintenance casts of Dosis are just going a little over, and so you're just at a low MP point. But we're at a lull point of that fight. Like this has happened sometimes in P2S. Actually, P1S is notorious for that sometimes. Now you have all of these charges that just accumulated, and you don't really have anything to spend them on, but you obviously need the MP back. But now someone to try and debunk even that, like I've actually thought way too much about this, so I'm thinking, what could someone say? So someone trying to debunk even that could then say, well then why not just spam Drocol or whatever abilities, which becomes the problem that most of them are cooldown gated. Like we're talking about like Taracol's 45 seconds, our very powerful Caracol is going to be 30 seconds. And you don't want to just throw out there needlessly because sometimes you really do want them, which ultimately leaves us to throw out a random Drocol, usually on ourselves without even targeting a different party member as we're casting Dosis explicitly for the MP return. And so people who are trying to be very devil's advocate could happily say that's not a waste because you literally did that for MP. That's a fair and great feeling to blow an Addersgall stack explicitly for that, right? that's where, no, it actually feels really bad. Like, this is getting into like the Scholar before, where it's just like, okay, we want to acquire Fairy Gauge. Controversy aside about was Fey Union that useful, I mean, it was a bit easier to ignore back then. MP, however, you cannot ignore these days unless you're running like a super high piety build. It didn't feel great even back then, and I'm not sure why people are trying to, or might possibly say that this is meant to feel good now. It doesn't feel great. That's a resource that I want to spend in some useful way, even if it's like a fringe benefit. Like energy drain right now. Is like 100 bones you've damaged that great? And like a teeny tiny little self heal that you probably don't even really care about? No, it's not great, but you know what, it is some way to kind of let the pressure out. Now this is gonna like mesh together kind of with my second problem, which is the Toxikon system, and this will make sense why I'm bringing this up now in a moment. Which the Toxikon system, I have to say, is a brilliant system, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of a Dark Knight shield mechanic for healers, but the problem is, outside of extremely specific scenarios on GCD, barriers, Eucration Diagnosis in particular here, are simply not something most healers cast. Like, not even once in P1S, not even once in P2S, and we're talking about like early, before the gear really ramps up and makes it even less relevant. I did not feel the need to use Eucration Diagnosis. If there was a pinch point that I was a little worried about, Haima would more than suffice in most instances, and that's Savage content, which reality is most players either won't get into, or they probably won't get much further than P2S at most. That's not me saying anything negative, that's just called a lot of people aren't necessarily into the raiding scene, and that's more than okay. Now, people are gonna be like, okay, like where would you maybe see like it being used? And where it becomes pretty easy to justify those big barriers is P3S, specifically after the ads phase, where the tanks get absolutely vandalized, and I speak from personal experience. On my shield usage there goes significantly up, but I haven't had as much time as I would have liked to sit down and prog that yet and get the fight finally finished, but from what I've tasted already has been like, oh my god. But my point remains that the incredible massive preponderance of the game doesn't justify on GCD Eucration Diagnosis single target barriers. Outside of obviously like pre-pull, like you can do some cheeky things, like if there's gonna be raid wide in 20 seconds, you can cast it on 3 different party members. Okay, that's nice, and that is like how I am currently actually getting Toxikon as is. But in general, this makes it that Toxikon outside of that is a really rare spell to cast. Like, I will maybe get into a fight, cast it maybe 3 times. Sure, you can shield the tank in extreme trials so that their HP only goes down to like 90% rather than 75%, but in general, you're gonna be better off if you just keep spamming doses, especially because that's what your Kardia proc hinges upon. So the solution that I'm gonna propose here is that I just want a skill to convert one Addersgall, just one of them, to one Addersting. And I would also be putting limitations on the skill so that you don't see something like a Sage opener that involves spamming this skill and converting all of their Addersgall to Addersting. I think that that would completely defeat what I believe that the developers are trying to get at, where they are like, this is specifically for this. So let's say we have a skill called Adders Transform, or whatever the skill name you want it to be, and it has a 20-second cooldown, which that being 20 seconds will allow it to match up with the passive 20 seconds per Addersgall charge obtained. Thus, this will allow you to get 1 charge of Addersting if you're about to cap passively, as well as you're going to get that precious MP return. So to me, this would actually be ideal because this allows me to have a clear way to let the pressure off when necessary, while not allowing us to fall down the same rabbit hole of energy drain spam openers with dissipation, so you get like 6 of them out at the opener like the Scholar can fall into. Nor will it radically break the Sage, turning it into some super mobile while doing damage like Scholar can do actually with Root 2 right now. The Scholar also doesn't have Kardia procs, but the Scholar's Fairy also doesn't care if they're DPSing or not, so they kind of do have it in the background. I digress, but my point is I don't think that this is suddenly going to make the Sage super almighty and Scholar dumpster tier. What this would do would be, it would be solving a problem that I know myself and many other Sage players aren't the biggest fan of. We basically just want a way to let off the pressure. Sure, there might be things that I could nitpick here and nitpick there, just like, oh, is Zoe meant for like AoE shields, or is it meant to like buff Numa? I really do find that it's kind of like balanced and fair. It's just like the Scholar gets really big shields, whereas the Sage gets an incredible value out of their shields spread out over a long distance. I mean, a long time. But this particular issue is annoying as sin. Take care everyone and have a lovely day.